Hello and welcome to the Predict podcast. Today is episode 2 and I'm going to be joined by the co-Predict owner, Tom Ibbott. Tom, how are you?
I'm alright, thanks Reece. How are you doing?
I'm brilliant, mate. Today we're going to be talking about this week's transfer activity, the Man City-Man United game last night, the Lee Griffiths situation in the Champions League and the pre-season tours. So, we're going to be starting with the transfer activity. The biggest transfer this week has been Kyle Walker to Manchester City. The English right back has moved there from Tottenham for £50 million. What are your thoughts on this, Tom?
It's a bit of a weird one, I reckon. First of all, I like to put it out there straight away. I do not think Kyle Walker is worth as much as he went for. I think that is absolutely mad, and that just shows how extreme football really is getting and how centred it is around money. But I do feel like Tottenham have a ready-made replacement already. I feel like Kieran Trippier is the ideal person to fill that role, that void that's been left by Tottenham. I don't think Man City have got value for their money in Kyle Walker. I think they could have gone elsewhere. They're already looking at Danilo from Real Madrid, who can play right back, left back. He's a decent player, Kyle Walker. Don't get me wrong, but he's not worth as much as he went for, and that's my sole opinion.
I fully agree with everything you said there. I think Kieran Trippier is a great player. He came in and filled in last season. Kyle Walker got injured, but the one thing that worries me is that Kyle Walker can't actually hold down a starting berth in the England team.
Yeah, absolutely.
The most recent international games, Nathaniel Clyne has been playing at right back. So I don't understand why you pay £50 million for a player who isn't the best right back in the country.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was going to say. He's not even the first choice right back for his country. He wasn't at times last season. He wasn't even the first choice right back for Tottenham. So how that can warrant him being the most expensive defender ever. It baffles me. It really does.
Talking about defenders, I'm just reading here that Kurt Zouma has signed a new 6-year deal with Chelsea, but he's been sent out on a season-long loan to Stoke City. Yeah.
See, that's another interesting one. I mean, before Zouma got his big injury a couple of seasons ago, he was a top player for Chelsea. He was really putting in the effort. He was keeping the likes of John Terry, Gary Cahill out of the team, and he's certainly got a bright future ahead of him. To be honest, I think this loan spell might be just what he needs to really get him up to be able to fulfil his potential, because I feel like he's not going to be able to get into Chelsea's starting team this season with the likes of Azpilicueta, David Luiz, Rudiger, all in that team.
Well, if you look at it, actually, Chelsea obviously play the three-at-the-back formation, and you've got David Luiz, as you said, you've got Rudiger, as you said, but Gary Cahill, is he not coming to the end of his term, I'd say? I mean, Kurt Zouma is a really good up-and-coming centre-back. I'm just looking here. I didn't realise he was that young. He's only 22. You may be right there about having to fulfil his potential, get a good season, playing every single week. So it could work out for him.
It could, you're right. But my worry with Kurt Zouma staying at Chelsea is that he'd spend too much time sit on the bench, and that's just not what he needs right now. You're right, there is the possibility he might get his big break and he might be able to stay in that team, but I feel like he's more guaranteed to be able to get that week in, week out run if he's playing at Stoke.
Another reason why it's beneficial for Kurt Zouma is obviously with the World Cup in Russia next year, and every player is looking for a starting berth in their respective national teams.
Absolutely.
You also got Morata is coming to Chelsea. He's wanting to start up front for Spain. He's wanting to push Diego Costa out of the team. You've got Zouma. He wants to challenge Laporte and Varane for a starting berth in the French team. And obviously Michael Keane as well. He wants to make a breakthrough in the England team. He wants to push Gary Cahill out of the team. So it's all about these moves. They're all thinking about the future, and they want to be in the plane to go to the World Cup.
Yeah, of course they do, and I think that's evident in a lot of the transfers that have taken place this season. For example, I think that must have been a big driving force behind Wayne Rooney's move to Everton, because we all know that Wayne Rooney is not a guaranteed starter at Man United anymore, and that is exactly why he left. At Everton, he will probably get games just about every single week, and I I'm going to put this out there now. I think Wayne Rooney will be on that plane next summer. I really do. Especially if he has a good season this year, there is absolutely no reason why he shouldn't be. I think Wayne Rooney still has the skills. I think he still has the ability, and I would be more than happy to see him on that plane.
Yeah, absolutely. From your point of view, obviously as an England fan, he's been doing it for years for England. He's the record all-time top scorer. He's even the all-time record top scorer at Man United. Is there questions about how he was treated at Man United? Being the record top goal scorer, should he have been treated a bit better? Because he's obviously still a world-class player, and Everton, I think, have got a very good deal in bringing him in.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with you. Couldn't put it better myself.
Anyway, moving on. Looking at more transfer news. Anthony Stokes, the Irishman, he's had his contract terminated by Blackburn Rovers. Do you know much about Anthony Stokes?
Not really, I must be honest. Like, I've seen him now and again, but nothing. I can't really comment on him passionately. I'm sure you've probably got a lot more to say. You know, you've seen him a lot more than I have. So,
well, Anthony Stokes, he's a very, very big guy. He's got a bit of pace about him. Big centre forward, can play in the wing as well. He was obviously at Celtic. He was at Hibs at first, then he moved to Celtic, and he was brilliant under Neil Lennon at Celtic. He tore defences to shreds. He was a big threat in Old Firm derbies. He loves it. He laps it up. He's a big game player. Obviously, you've seen it last season. He got sent on loan to Hibs. He single-handedly scored a goal in the Scottish Cup final against my team, Rangers. So I think Hibs will definitely be looking to bring him in this summer. I think Hibs' transfer business this summer has been absolutely fantastic. I don't see why Rangers haven't went for a really good experienced full-back in Stephen Whittaker, ex-player of the club. And they've also brought in Simon Murray from Dundee United in a free transfer. They've not even spent any money, and I think they've made some fantastic signings. And if they bring in Anthony Stokes, it's going the right direction.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you. Like, obviously I'm not a Scottish football fan, but I know the basics. I know about certain players like that, and I know that Stokes is a good player. You know, I've not seen him as much as you have, but what I have seen of him, he's a good player, and you know, he should be a good signing, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And Hibs fans, any Scottish football fans, tell us what you think in the comments. Should Hibs move for Stokes? Should any other Scottish teams move for Stokes? Let us know. Anyway, another big situation in the Premier League, obviously, with Alvaro Morata agreeing the deal to come to Chelsea, looking to be in the starting place for the World Cup next summer. Diego Costa, what do you think is the future for Diego Costa? Is the future lie in the Premier League, or is he elsewhere?
What do you say about Diego Costa? For me, Diego Costa is a world-class striker. He's an absolute idiot most of the time, but he is a absolutely brilliant striker. And for Chelsea to be able to say that they don't need him in their team, I cannot get my head around that. I think he'll be better off somewhere that actually want him, rather than sticking around at Chelsea and knowing that he's not actually wanted there and he's not going to be their first choice for whatever reason. Absolutely, he needs to go.
I agree a bit, but I think he's not being treated well, as you said.
No.
He was a top goal scorer last season. You could say he fired him towards the title. He did. He got 20 plus goals, great striker. I know he's a bit silly, puts in a couple of stupid tackles, gets involved in things he shouldn't, but I think that's part of his game. I love a striker that gets involved, a classic centre forward who's willing to nudge the defender, get involved, stick his head in where it hurts. I think Costa suits the Premier League very well. If Chelsea don't want him, I think another Premier League club should be looking to take them off his hands. But obviously the biggest club that's been linked with Diego Costa has been his old club, Atletico Madrid. And he's very keen on a move there. But the only problem is Atletico Madrid obviously have a transfer ban until January.
Yeah.
So I've heard various reports that are linking him with a loan move to AC Milan, then a move to Atletico Madrid in January to try and get around the transfer ban.
See, AC Milan could be another interesting one. You know, they've had a lot of transfer activity so far. They've signed a lot of good players. But I mean, another team I heard linked was Juventus, another top team in Italy. I'm sure that it'll be them too that'll be fighting for the title next year. So I think Diego Costa would be an asset anywhere that he goes, and I think that's a fact.
Talking about Italian football, I'm looking at AC Milan's squad right now. They spent £160 million on 10 players. And I can't fault any of the signings. I think they've been absolutely fantastic deals. The likes of Çalhanoğlu, you've seen Bonucci, you've seen Frank Kessie. What do you think on AC Milan and their aspirations for the season? Should they be challenging for the title?
If they're not challenging for the title, if they don't win the title, I think this will be a failed season for them. I genuinely do. They've shown what they want to achieve by just the signing of Bonucci, I reckon. For me, Bonucci is in the top 3 defenders in the world. You know, he's an absolutely brilliant defender, and it just shows their aspiration. You know, that they can attract such a big player to their club. You know.
Yeah, obviously as well they've brought in Ricardo Rodriguez from Wolfsburg. Only £15 million for a top quality left back. I don't understand why some of the Premier League clubs don't move for some of these players, because £160 million on 10 players, 10 quality players.
Yeah.
The Premier League spend that on 2, maybe 3.
Absolutely.
So do you think foreign clubs take advantage of Premier League clubs, knowing that they've got a lot of money from the TV deals, a lot of revenue coming in? Do you think they exploit Premier League clubs in bumping up the prices?
I think they might. I think that could be the reason. We've already this transfer window. We've seen a lot of big signings. You know, there was Lukaku last week, which we talked about. Kyle Walker, which we've already talked about. Timu Bakayoko, which signed for Chelsea this week for 40 million. You know, some of these players, I genuinely reckon, if they went to other teams around Europe, they would not go for that much at all.
Yeah, obviously as well. You've mentioned 3 or 4 signings there, and you've not even mentioned Lacazette. Or
absolutely,
Rooney, or Pickford, or Keane. These are big money. That's £25-30 million on these players. Even Alexandre Lacazette. The money getting thrown around nowadays is it's ridiculous. But it may come up trump. Moving back to AC Milan, I'm looking at the players here. They've got Bonucci, Romagnoli, Donnarumma, Bonaventura, Andre Silva, Lucas Biglia, Çalhanoğlu, Frank Kessie, Matteo Musacchio, Carlos Bacca, Ricardo Rodriguez. They 11 players are frighteningly good. And the one thing in common, they all start for their countries. They're all starting players.
They are.
And
they really are.
Premier League clubs are signing players for similar transfer fees, maybe a bit more.
Absolutely.
Who don't start for their countries. Obviously with Kyle Walker. And even Alexandre Lacazette, he doesn't start for France. Olivier Giroud started for France over him.
I think AC Milan, their aspiration is to get back to the AC Milan of old. You know, the AC Milan that were known as one of the world's best teams. You know, they had the likes of Kaká. You know, he was one of the world's best players at the time when he was at AC Milan. AC Milan, they were one of the top teams. They were considered, along with the likes of Bayern Munich, along with the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, they were up there. And I think, you know, they want to get back there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've been taking out a bit of loans, actually, from a US-based businessman. I think they've got a lot of money coming into the club nowadays. I think they've got a couple of investors who, as you said, they want to see AC Milan go back to the AC Milan of old with Kaká and Pirlo and Seedorf. They want to see that happen. And good on them, because, you know, football nowadays is all about business. And I don't think AC Milan are really bothering. I think they just want to bring the club back where it belongs.
Yeah, and there's no reason why they can't do that. They've built an absolutely cracking team, so, you know, good luck to him.
Yeah.
They'll have a tough season, you know, playing against Juventus, another top team, but for me, AC Milan should be winning the title. They really should. With the team that they've built, I don't see why they shouldn't.
Talking about a transfer we've not talked much about so far, even though we've talked a lot about transfers. Javier Hernandez, what's your thoughts on him?
Wow, so Javier Hernandez, I have a lot of strong opinions on Hernandez, and it really angers me how badly he was treated when he was at Man United. For me, Javier Hernandez should always have been a starting player. He is an absolutely fantastic striker, and I don't think he was utilised well enough at Man United. I really don't. He does stuff on the pitch that really amazes me. You know, he's got so many different aspects to his game, and I feel at Man United he was just used as an impact player. You know, he should have got that long run in the team, and all being well, if the transfer to West Ham goes through, he should get that. And, you know, good luck to him. I can see him being up there with the fighting for the Golden Boot this season. Yeah.
He's 29 years old, but obviously, as you said, he's got the qualities to be a top Premier League striker. I'm looking at his goals record now for Manchester United. He played 103 games. And let's remember, he was an impact sub. He was a man that produce Fergie time. That's what he was there for. He was coming off the bench and he was scoring the goals to win them the game. So he got 37 goals in 103 games. Now let's contrast that to his time at Leverkusen, his current club. He's played 54 games and scored 28 goals. That's what happens when you start him, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. He's a brilliant striker. He's a brilliant striker, and it really annoys me how Man United treated him. It really does.
Doing it
because he didn't deserve that.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing a bit of maths there. Manchester United, his time there, it was a goal every 3 games. At Bayer Leverkusen, he's scoring a goal every under 2 games. It's roughly about 1.9 games he's taken them to score a goal. I think these stats speak for themselves, and I think West Ham have been lacking a quality striker. I think if West Ham had that quality striker with Payet and Lanzini beside them, I think we could have pushed for the top 6 that season. We had the fantastic season in the last year at the Bowling Ground.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Javier Hernandez, he is a real good signing for West Ham. I can see him potentially working well with Andy Carroll up front. You know, I think they're both very different. Andy Carroll, you know, he's good in the air. He's got that strength about him, and I think Hernandez would contrast that well. If they can keep Andy Carroll fit, I don't see any reason why they can't form a good partnership.
Keeping on the topic of West Ham here, there's a few signings that West Ham been linked with this summer, and it's been announced that we've agreed a deal with Stoke City for Marko Arnautovic, and also we're looking at plays with some Turkish team. I think it's Omanelspor. It's Alfred Ndiaye, the centre defensive midfielder. $8.5 million we're looking at for him. I think West Ham are building foundations here and have a fantastic season, like the season we saw 2 years ago.
I must admit, I'm a bit confused about the Arnautovic signing. Not going to lie, I think he'd be a good signing. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player. But how much is it he's going for? About 25 million. It's a lot.
But if you look at nowadays in the Premier League, it's generally cheap.
It does confuse me. If you contrast that to how much Hernandez is supposedly going for, 16 million. How Arnautovic is worth more than that, I don't know. Honestly, it baffles me.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, that Alfred Ndiaye's played with a Premier League team before. He's obviously been at Hull City and he's at Villarreal at the moment. So I think he could fit in well in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've also got to consider, you know, the other big signing that West Ham have made this week. Joe Hart, obviously, you know, coming from Man City on loan. I think that's another massive signing. You know, it shows their intent. They want to be up there. And with the signing of Joe Hart, you know, like we were saying before, he'll be another one that'll be wanting to be on that plane going to the World Cup next year. And I'm sure he will be on that plane, but he won't just want to be on the plane. He'll want to be starting. He'll want to be England's number 1. You know, I think if he has a good season, he'll have no problem and he'll be in that team.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to Ndiaye there, I really want to apologise because I've been talking about the wrong Ndiaye. He's actually Badu Ndiaye, who plays with Manchester. I do apologise there. Just a few Ndiayes getting thrown about. Moving back to the English national team. England have never been short of top quality keepers, have they? Look at the keepers they've got now. They've got obviously Joe Hart, Tom Heaton, Fraser Forster, Jack Butland and Jordan Pickford. That's 5 20 million plus players.
Yeah, that's just the ones that are actually in and around the team, isn't it? There's I can tell you there are lots of good young English goalkeepers that are going through, and I do not think we will have a problem with English goalkeepers for the next 10-20 years. You know, you just named 5 of them there, but there are more. You know, there are. And so I think that'll work in England's favour. You know, they'll all be fighting for that number 1 shirt. I can certainly see Jordan Pickford having a good run in the team at some point. You know, especially after him signing for Everton. I think assuming that he'll take the first choice jersey at Everton, which he should do. I think he should be up there, and I think he should be fighting with Hart.
Yeah, absolutely. But you've got to consider Tom Heaton, Jack Butland and Fraser Forster,
of course,
who've all been in the team before Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's just it just shows how strong the England goalkeeping section is right now, doesn't it? So, you know, good luck to them all. They're all got a tough job on their hands, but I'm sure whoever does get the number 1 shirt, he'll deserve it.
So, do you see it being fair if Tom Heaton, Fraser Forster, and Jack Butland all have average seasons this season. Not doing much wrong, but not doing as good as he should be. And Jordan Pickford has a fantastic season, and Joe Hart has a brilliant season. And say Joe Hart gets the starting berth and Jordan Pickford's a backup. Do you see that being fair on Butland, Forster, and
Heaton?
Do you see it being fair on the three?
You know what, I do. I don't. At the end of the day, you've got to pick your team based on merit. You can't just pick it on based on who's been in and around the squad the most. You know, if Jordan Pickford's playing the best at that point, you know, you've got to take him, haven't you? And I think Gareth Southgate will do that. You know, he's shown last season that he's not afraid to drop the big names. Wayne Rooney is a prime example. You know, his last two squads, he hasn't named Wayne Rooney in the team. And I think if he was bound to experience and bound to just who's been in and around the squad the most, I think, you know, he would have named Wayne Rooney just because he felt like he had to. And I think that'll be exactly the same with those three. But, you know, it's going to be a tricky one. We can't call right now who's going to be England's three goalkeepers going into that tournament. But, you know, it's just going to be based on who has the best season.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to move on to a different topic here. We're going to be talking about pre-season tour destinations. Do you see it fit to be pushing the players to be going on long-haul trips to America and Asia, Australia, when they can just play just as good games back home and bring other good Champions League teams, good Europa League teams from Europe and bring them over to British shores?
Yeah, you know what, they can. It's a bit of a funny one. I see the sides for both arguments. You know, at the end of the day, a trip away, especially for the new signings, it provides a perfect opportunity for team bonding. I know it's cliche to say, but you do need your players to gel before they play a game. And I think taking the likes of Man United, Chelsea, Man City all the way abroad to wherever they want to go, you know, I think it'll do that, and they'll get that opportunity before the season starts to really get to grips with their new signings, get to grips with their team, and get back into the swing of things. And I don't see anything against it. If it was me, the manager, you know, I wouldn't see it as being that necessary, but I can see why teams do it and why they take them away, because I suppose they'll want to play against different teams rather than just play against the ones that they'll be playing against week in, week out anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to contrast you there. I'm going to kind of throw a bit of spanner in the works with that argument you just put out there, playing different teams that they don't usually play. I'm looking at Arsenal fixtures here. They're playing Chelsea tomorrow. They play Chelsea every week. I'm looking at Brighton. See, they've not went away, but they're playing Norwich. You're looking at Man United. They just played Man City. So, is it beneficial? I think it's a corporate cow and they're milking it.
Yeah.
They're milking the teams they're milking the teams to make as much money as possible, spreading the global franchise and creating more supporters in Asia, America, Australia. So you can see why they do it in that perspective. But, as you said, obviously, it's beneficial for new signings. But I'm looking here, Liverpool are playing Leicester tomorrow, and Man United are playing Tottenham in the USA. I don't see the point in playing a team that you play week in, week out in a different destination.
I can see your argument. I really can. And, yeah, you're absolutely right. It would make more sense to just go out there and play the different teams. You know, if Man United want to play Man City, organise a game when you get back. You know, I agree. I do agree with you, Reece.
I'm looking at probably be one of Manchester City's last pre-season games. They're playing West Ham in Iceland. Iceland. Who thinks of these destinations to go and play a team you play in, week out? See, it's very absurd.
You know, these teams can afford to do that, though, can't they? It's almost like
absolutely.
Almost like they're just trying to show off. This is how much money we've got. Look what we can do, sort of thing. It's. I suppose it's become more of a tradition now that these teams, they go out to these faraway places and they play against other teams. So it's just keeping up with the times, sort of thing. You know, that's what everyone does, so we've got to do it as well.
I'm looking at some more fixtures here, and you're looking at the smaller clubs such as Watford, maybe Brighton, Newcastle, not Newcastle, West Brom, Huddersfield. they're all playing fairly local teams. I'm looking at West Brom's fixtures here. They've got Slavia Prague, Leicester, Crystal Palace, Walsall, Burton Albion, Bristol Rovers, Slough Town, Kidderminster, Port Vale and Deportivo La Coruna. Now, the furthest they're really going there is Czech Republic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, apologies here. They went to Hong Kong to play Leicester, but let's not talk about that. They're basically playing... See, they've not got as much money, have they? You can just tell by their pre-season fixtures. You can also see it with Rangers as well. See, Rangers, we basically play a large majority of our pre-season games in the training ground. Now, it wasn't really planned to have a lot of pre-season games as we were preparing for Europa League qualifiers, which we got dumped out in the first round by Progress Niederkorn. So, we basically play a large proportion of our games behind closed doors. And that may be down to the difference in money coming in between Premier League clubs and Scottish Premier League clubs. It's a major difference in the money that comes in. But, obviously, the biggest friendlies we are going to have this summer is in the next 2 weeks. We've also got Marseille tomorrow, which I'll be attending at Ibrox, and Sheffield Wednesday next weekend. We're only travelling down England for a... That's the furthest we're going to go for a friendly.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessary to be going any further than that, really, is it? You know, you're getting what you need at the end of the day. Pre-season's all about fitness and getting your team to bond with each other. Why you can't do that back at home, I have no idea.
Is it the sun? Is it the weather? Is it giving them a bit of a rest? Bit of a difference? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, last topic here. We're going to be talking about a bit more about Scottish football, about a fixture that went on in the last 2 weeks. Is Linfield versus Celtic. Now, I'll give people a bit of a backdrop about the fixture. It's a bit to do with religion, and I don't condemn any of it, even though I'm a Rangers fan. I don't condemn any of the things said on either side of the coin, on the Celtic side, on the Rangers side, the Linfield side. Anyway, now, Linfield come from a largely Orange Order Protestant religion in that way, and they're not scared to shout about it, to be honest. They make it very clear. They also have the Orange Walk on the 12th of July, and that enrages Celtic fans' point of views. I don't know why. I'm not going to say anything because I'm not clued up on the Celtic point of view, but Celtic are largely linked to Irish terrorism within the IRA, which are a Republican rebel group, terrorists. Obviously, were responsible for car bombings in London, and they've showed their colours as well. They've been charged by UEFA in the home leg for a illicit banner showing a IRA member's uniform on a poster, and obviously Lee Griffiths as well at the away leg in Belfast. Obviously, he was provoking the Linfield fans by putting a 5-1 gesture behind his back in regards to the Rangers fixture last season. So I wouldn't say Celtic are fully to blame, as it's a small minority of fans, and it's a very irresponsible player. He's been fined for things in the past, been punished for things in the past, and it's just a bit of over the top banter in a kind of way on the playing types of things.
Yeah.
In the stands, it's a bit different as it's supporting terrorism. But in the Lee Griffiths situation, Celtic obviously got fined about €5,000, I think it was. And I don't condemn Linfield fans throwing bottles and other objects, glass bottles being thrown at him. I know he's done something to provoke and annoy the Linfield fans, but is it really necessary to be trying to hurt Lee Griffiths just for what he's done? What's your thoughts on this, Tom? I know you don't follow much of it, but I know you've heard it in the news, etc. You got any thoughts on this?
To be honest, I think it's been blown out of proportion a bit. You know, like you said, I don't know enough about it, but from what I've seen, they've kind of made a mountain out of a molehill, if you know what I'm on about. You know, Lee Griffiths, he's got a bit of a reputation, I suppose, as a bit of an irresponsible player now and again. Yeah, he probably shouldn't have done what he did, but, you know, he did it. I don't see the reason for it to be dragged out as far as it has. Yeah, maybe a punishment should have been issued, but yeah, it's one situation. You know, it'll sort itself out. Give it a month, nobody will even talk about this anymore. It won't be important. You know, it's just one little incident, and I don't think it needs to be made a big thing of. To be honest,
I've actually left out quite a big point, and the ban and the 1 match ban and the fine. It may change your opinion a bit on it. Lee Griffiths at the end of the match came back out and tied the Celtic scarf to the Linfield goalpost, and that enraged a lot of the Linfield fans, and it caused a pitch invasion at the end.
Yeah.
For some Linfield fans trying to get onto the pitch.
Yeah, of course.
And obviously Linfield got fined for that. Linfield got fined for some sectarian chants during the game and the pitch invasion at the end. But to be honest, is it incited by Griffiths? Should Griffiths got a heavier ban? Does this change your view about that action at the end of the game?
You know what, he has provoked them, hasn't he? Let's be honest. You know, by doing what he did, he's provoked their fans, and I'm sure none of us would blame them for having a bit of a reaction towards it, and yeah, of course he deserves a punishment. But like I say this about most incidents like this, I don't think we need to drag it out more than is necessary, because each situation is different. You know, you can't really compare it to anything that's ever happened before.
Do you think punishments nowadays are too severe, or they should be pulled down a notch?
I think some of them are way too severe, and some of them are the complete opposite. For example, let's look at Luis Suarez, right? Yep. When he's three incidents we've had of him biting people. I reckon if that was any other player, someone that wasn't as world class as Suarez, he would have been banned potentially for life. If not for a lot longer than Suarez was. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how long Suarez's ban actually was. Do you know? Was it?
I think it was 9 games.
Yeah, it was.
And he got a ban for playing for his country for 6 months, I think, and he done it for Uruguay in the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. But for me, that should have been longer. You know, you can't. You've got to accept that you can't go around biting people.
I mean, this came from when he was at Ajax.
Yeah.
And he was at Ajax pre-2010. So think about that. He's bit someone when he's at Ajax. He bit someone at Liverpool. He's racially abused someone when he's at Liverpool. And he's bit someone whilst playing for his country.
Yeah.
I think it should be a bit more severe. He's also got a bit of a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, he obviously does, doesn't he? You know, I think what they needed to do was they really did need to stamp down on it and say to him, you know, this is not okay. You cannot go around doing this. To be honest, in his defence, it does look like the punishment's worked. You know, since the 9-game ban was issued, I can't think of any other big issues that we've really had with Suarez. You know, he's not been making the news for the wrong reasons. Like I was saying, I think it was purely based on his profile as a player, the punishment that he was issued with, because he was at that time and even now, you know, he is one of the best strikers in the world. If that had been someone, for example, this is just completely at random, but let's say Anthony Stokes, who we were talking about earlier, you know, he's a decent player, but he's not someone that you'd class as world class. If it had been him, for example, I think he would have got, you know, a couple of years at least.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. Anyway, that's the end of the podcast for this week. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, Tom. If anyone would like to see anything next week in next week's podcast, any specific topics, please let us know. Please comment on the post. And yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it once again. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Tom, for joining me here.
Thank you very much, Reece.
And yeah, that's a wrap. Thank you.